Revealing that you got the band back together, man.
Oh, that's right. Oh. Yeah, it was.
What's the name of your band again? I'm sorry, I forgot.
It's Courage.
Courage. That's right.
Yes.
I was going to say Challenge, but that doesn't seem right. Although
it's close enough. Yeah.
Was it how did it go?
I went all right. Not practicing for 3 years has an effect, which we noticed right away. But it was good. A little bit of whiskey cures that. So
yep.
Yeah. It was. It worked out pretty well. It was a lot of fun. I don't know what I can say on a podcast.
You guys doing shows now?
Well, it just so happened that all three of us were in town at the same time. But maybe there's something coming up later this year. I'll leave it at that. Perhaps.
I want an invite because I need to see this live and in action.
Oh, there will be something. Brad's not invited though, since he's not here anymore.
Fair enough.
After today.
That's totally fair. All ties must be severed.
Yep, exactly. I figure we're gonna have a DT confessional section. Now with Brad here for his last day, he's just gonna reveal all the secrets that he knows or something like that. Whatever it is, I stole the sandwich out of the fridge that one time everybody was mad about it. Or
it's gonna be more like Brule's Rules though, where I'm gonna be like, you can use the coffee machine to make iced coffee if you put a pint glass full of ice underneath it and
true.
flip the little thing up. Look at that. A little tip I learned from
There we go.
I will reveal a secret about digital trends that people may not know. This glass, we have a smaller glass too, a shorter one that's rounded. They hold the same amount of liquid.
What? Oh man. Yeah. There it is.
So if you've ever gotten the smaller glass of beer and thought, oh, well, I'm just having a small glass of beer, you're having the exact same amount as the tall glasses.
Wow.
That's a secret that I've harbored for a long time. Because most people see the small glass and they think, oh, he's just having a small glass of beer. And
the whole time, Brad's been like, if you guys only knew the truth about the glass.
And DT Confessionals has been canceled.
There you go.
So that didn't work out.
Brad is drunk all the time at work. All right.
I've been drinking nonstop since I've been here. All right, let's go live. Hello, everyone tuning in right now on Facebook and YouTube. This is Trends with Benefits. This is our weekly roundtable podcast where we discuss everything that's going on in the world of tech. We'll usually pick a few topics and go over those. We want to hear your reaction, your comments, your questions about what we're going to be discussing today. We've got several things we're going to bounce through. We've got some robot news, a robot block, if you will. I just coined that. I don't know if it's going to stick or not, but we've got some iOS news. The robot block.
This is like 105.1, the robot block.
Stick around for the robot block, hitting that about 252 right here on your... Never mind, that's too much. We're going to be talking about some stuff with Apple, especially right here at the beginning. Apple and their new foray into TV content, but also possibly Apple OLED TVs again. We've been hearing these rumors for years now, but there is a leak. There's a picture that's been leaked that maybe shows one. And kind of our overall question that we put up here today to start the show off is, if Apple does make a television, would you buy it? And that's what I'm curious what people think. And we've got a lot to talk about with it. Let's introduce our roundtable here. I'm Greg Nibbler, and to my right...
I'm Nick Moquet.
Nick Moquet, hello. It's been a while since Nick's been on the show.
It has been. I'm glad to be back, though.
Good. This is excellent. And to the right, it is, if you watch Close to the Metal, you already know, Brad is leaving Digital Trends here soon. So, Brad, hello, sir.
How's it going?
How you doing?
Do
you have anything special you want to say?
No, I think we're good, yeah.
Okay, that was it. All right, well, there we go. That's Brad.
He's a very sentimental guy.
Nope,
I posted something on Twitter. It was, that's all good.
In fact, I'm done with this podcast.
He's going to walk out halfway through.
Yeah, we talked about that in Close to the Middle. Like in radio, when you get fired, they basically won't let you back on the air and erase your name from everything because they're afraid of what you'll say. And so that's why it's a little bit risky putting Brad on.
That's going to happen here. They're going to delete all of my articles as soon as I
leave. He never existed. All right, and on the end,
the whiskey mist.
The whiskey mist. It is killer. All right, well, we've already got a bunch of comments, of course, because we put Apple on here. And to see what people think. So far, I'm seeing a lot of no's as far as whether or not you would buy an Apple television. And the whole reason... I'm not seeing a whole lot of yeses. Yeah, I'm not seeing a lot of yeses.
I'm totally shocked. I can't believe it.
So let's see here. Yeah, it's almost all nope. So I'm going to scroll through here. We've got a bunch of things that are coming up here, so we'll see what you guys think. But the whole reason we're talking about this is there was another leak. This came from, you pronounce it Weibo or Weibo, like China's Twitter.
Sure.
Okay, I'll just say
care.
that. All right. Caleb being honest
I don't
there.
care what you
Sorry, that
call
just
it.
threw me off. I don't care. Anyway, there's a picture that has been leaked that supposedly shows an Apple product. We're going to show the picture here if you're watching live. It's real grainy, but this was enough to set the internet astorm over whether or not this is an actual television. Now, Apple, has been rumored for years to be getting into televisions, that they were going to make an actual physical television that you could buy, and this supposedly could be an Apple OLED television that's going to be coming out. Now, there's a few things with this. One, I guess at this point, why would Apple start making an OLED television? I mean, why would they even jump into making a physical television? Is there something... Would they be able to get ahead of Samsung and LG and everybody else that's already established?
Not a chance, because
And
first of all, it would be an LG OLED panel.
Yeah.
They would make an OLED television because it would be OLED, and that's the best right now. So that's what Apple would do. Why would they make a television? I really don't know. I mean, I suppose it could be a glorified, Mac, where it's a Mac, it's a smart TV, and it's a TV all in one, like everything. It just happens to be big and gorgeous and super thin. Maybe. But no, they could not compete because they would be using an LG OLED panel. They'd be paying for that instead of manufacturing it themselves. The cost is really high on these, so they'd have to price it astronomically, which is not a far-flung idea for Apple. I'm sure they could come up with a premium price point and have Tim Cook sell you on why it's the most amazing thing ever. But it really just doesn't make sense, which is why there are pundits who have been speculating that one would be coming for years and years and years. And yeah, maybe at one point they thought, hey, it would be really good to get into this whole smart TV game. We're smart and we could make a TV. But they never have. And I personally, look, I'm terrible at Photoshop, but I could make that image right there. That is not a huge stretch. It doesn't seem like a legit image.
It was posted Mac Rumors, which are usually, it is Mac Rumors, but they're at least a reliable source for that stuff.
Yeah.
So, they are the ones that shared it, so maybe they have some kind of other inside info, or maybe they just thought, we'll put this out there and see what people think, which is exactly what we're doing.
To be fair, I feel like this fits exactly in with Apple's sort of like product loop of something is already on the market that people really like. We can do the same thing. We'll market it really well and sell it for twice the price and make money off it.
And just put Apple on
there.
there.
You think about things like ARKit is like this huge push into AR for smartphones, and it's basically Google Tango. Like, they've sort of created something that someone has already created and put out on the market and have sort of turned it into their own thing that they can sell for a lot more.
So what would the selling point be? Every time they get into a market that's has been around for a really long time, they always step in and go, but you can't do this yet. Everybody's wanted to do this, and now we're going to make it happen.
Yeah, what they do is they're going to put an Apple logo on the back of it. On the
And
back of the
that's
TV,
it.
and that's the new feature that you won't have on your LG TV with a Roku plugged into it.
They've got to have a content play to go with it. If there is hardware, which I agree with you, I don't think there is. But if there were, there would have to be a content play.
And that kind of segues us into the other big Apple news that came out this week. They have been trying to make a content play, which I think is part of why we haven't seen a new Apple TV box in a while. Like, everybody else has had 4K and HDR in their media streamers for a long time, and everybody talks about how woefully behind Apple is with the Apple TV. And so we're expecting a new Apple TV box real soon here, maybe in September. But like, I agree with Nick. There has got to be a content play, and they've struggled. They tried to make their own streaming service, and they couldn't get enough heavy hitters signed on, and that was well known, and so they kind of receded and maybe re-strategized or whatever. But now they're putting some money down.
Yeah, right now they do have Planet of the Apps, which is not a good show. It's just not. And then they also have some of Carpool Karaoke. So they've got a whole season of that, which is just kind of, again, piggybacking on something else that's already out there.
I was in the Apple store the other day to get a cracked screen fixed, and like every display in the entire huge store was various different Carpool Karaokes. Like, they're really, really pushing it, and it's just not great.
It's fine, but that's just one very kind of minor show that you can put in there. So yeah, that's the other announcement they made this week, is that they're going to invest $1 billion into original content, which sounds like a lot of money. It is, $1 billion is a lot of money, but then you compare it to what Netflix is doing. They're investing $7 billion just this next year in original content, I believe is what they just came out today. But yeah, Apple's going to start making some original content.
$1 billion investment from Apple, like to produce, which basically means go hunt down good shows and buy them.
Yeah.
Is like them dipping their toe in the water there. I mean, Amazon spent $1 billion when they came out with their first original series a while back, Transparent and all that stuff. So, and they had moderate success. I mean, to this day, I still think that Transparent is the most successful and probably best overall show that they've produced, even though they've produced a number of others, some of which I liked. But you can't put Amazon next to Netflix and not see Amazon just get dwarfed in the original content.
Even Hulu's kind of coming up to the well, I guess Hulu and Amazon are kind of about the same levels.
And I think HBO spends like $10 million per episode for Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Those were the numbers that came out 2016, or I'm sorry, season 6. So yeah, $1 billion sounds like a lot until you put it into context and you realize they're just dabbling.
Yeah, but I mean, I would assume this is just an initial step into it to beef it up more than Planet of the Apps, and which, again, I'm
How
sorry.
Can you say that with a straight face? It's terrible.
God, I tried to watch it. It's such an awful show.
Wait, what is the premise of this show?
Planet of the Apps. It involves Gwyneth Paltrow. It's kind of like a.
I already hate
That's a problem.
Yeah, already. It's kind of like a Shark Tank only for app makers.
Ooh.
And it's Will.i.am created it.
Now I really hate it.
He's the star. Gwyneth Paltrow's on there. Jessica Alba, I think. And anyway, they come to them with their apps.
But don't they pitch it on like an escalator, like a slowly moving walkway?
Yeah, there's a whole entrance
And you get
thing.
down to the bottom of it, and then they have to make the decision. If they don't like it, you like drop through a hole. Like they added this whole like weakest link thing that's going on. Like it's. I think it's great. I think they should add more slapstick comedy to Shark Tank. I think.
So
would really
you're
make
pro
that
Planet
show.
of the Apps. All right.
I haven't watched it, but it sounds good. I like people dropping through holes.
That's like all those old Nickelodeon shows, like for kids, where they either get slimed or they get thrown back in a chair in a puff of smoke, and they fall down a. Yeah, it's amazing that they don't get hurt.
If we don't like the idea for your travel app, you get slimed. I think that's an even better show. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. All right. Well, that might not be a bad element. I wish you could slime Will.i.am. That would be what I would want to see. Like if it fails.
End of every episode.
Taking a look here just at some of the comments, I wanted to address some of these before we go back to the content thing. Brian is saying Apple's likely to try to make a television with a better user interface. However, if you base your opinion on iTunes, then they'll probably fail miserably. So maybe that is something they would do, incorporate more of an interface for it as a gateway to everything else and kind of combine some of their computing technology into a television. I mean, I don't know. People do like Apple products. I mean, like Brad said, slap an Apple logo on it and maybe it will sell. But yeah, I guess that's kind of hard to say. Would that be enough, just putting an Apple logo on it, for somebody to buy it or not? I don't know. I know, obviously, Caleb, you are a hard no on this.
I'm a no. I just don't think it. I mean, they could make one and they would sell a few, but is it a future product for them? I don't think so. Even though I'm always talking about how there's this confluence between computing and TVs. Like the lines are even blurrier now than they were just last year. So you could definitely make a case for why Apple could make a great TV. I just don't know that they can succeed at it. I think there's more to it, more to the TV making game than they understand. Because they can buy the panel, but like LG and Samsung and Sony have worked for years and years and years and years to make really good processing. So can Apple come through and do good TV processing? It's very different than running games. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Would anybody in here buy an Apple television?
Hell no.
Hard no.
That's a hard no. Okay, so far it seems like, there's a lot of no's as far as what people would want to buy. So keep letting us know what you think about that. Muji says maybe easier to sync other Apple products to the television. I would imagine there's have to be some kind of extreme, some kind of integration in there. Maybe combine it with their Siri.
The TV would only come with like 2 USB-C ports, and then you have to buy like a bunch of dongles to connect your HDMI devices.
If you'd like to power this product, you'll have to add on this. Yeah, that's probably exactly it. Let us know what you think about this as we go through and talk about that. One other thing, a few other things that we wanted to talk about here today too, and we'll circle back around to Apple OLED television and the original content issue. So let us know what you think. But iOS, there was this that I thought was kind of interesting, talking about phone security. And with iOS 11, there is a new feature on there that will help override the fingerprint scanner on the phones, and it's being called the Cop Button. And basically, if you hit the power button 5 times, it'll lock up the screen and will go to an SOS page to where you then have to enter in a password in order to get in. So just in the realm of security when it comes to phones, this is kind of a nice way to override some of that and skip the fingerprint side. Although I do love the fingerprint scanner on phones.
Well, the important part about that is that the police can ask you for your fingerprint to unlock your phone, and that's considered like a fine thing to do without a warrant, but you can forget your password. So the key here is that you can get away with, like, if you don't want them accessing your phone, you hit the power button 5 times, and now you've forgotten your password, and the only option is to either delete the phone entirely or wait until you're not in that situation and unlock it again.
That's a pretty cool way to get around it.
Your thumb.
Yeah.
You can, but it's kind of a painful process just to get away from the cops.
That is true. Yeah, you have to burn it off and all that kinds of stuff. That's a lot.
And especially with, a Canadian woman was just banned from entering the U.S. Because of her email history with her doctor. So there's all this stuff about, like, when they can open your phone and when you should let them open your phone that, like, sort of makes this a bigger issue.
Interesting. All right. Caleb, what do you think about this?
I don't like it.
Okay. You're
Don't
against,
like it.
you're against
You
it.
don't like it?
No, I don't.
It's
I-
Apple trying to help you stick it to the man.
No, and I'm sorry. I do like the feature. I think that's smart. It reminds me of the spreadsheet button that you could press when you're playing a game at work, and it just brings up the spreadsheet. It's a no shit button, is what it is. And I just don't like that we have to do this. That's what I don't like. I don't like the invasion of privacy, the scrutiny, of coming across the border. Oh, we can't let you in because you did too much mescaline in fucking Mexico. I'm sorry.
It is DT Confessions today.
Spoken
Wow.
with experience.
I gotta be honest with you. I don't know. I don't know where I just went just now. Listen, I have been working so hard lately, and I'm totally losing it right now.
It's Fear and Loathing in Las
Like you
Vegas.
need to go to Mexico.
Yeah.
That's what
Fear
I
and
saw.
Loathing at DT.
That's what I saw in my head when I said that. I don't know where it came from. Can we start the segment
There are
over?
multiple vows being on here. This is live, everyone. So you probably won't get that on the podcast. I'm going to guess I have to delete it.
Oh yeah, you probably will. But no, more to the point, it's just the fact that we have to have this thing.
Yeah.
The thing that went down with the cops and the legal battles that went down with them trying to access the phone and get into that stuff. This is the fruition of that panic button. I wish that we didn't have to go down that road.
Right.
Nobody was ever. I mean, on my old rotary dial phone, the cop button called the cops. That's what a cop button was for. Now it's
Right.
just completely twisted around. Now you're protecting yourself from the cops.
Yeah, I wonder how it's going to work once it's fake, because supposedly on the new iPhone 8, and I'm sure we'll be talking about that a lot over the next month. Is that one of the things they're working on is facial recognition to unlock your phone. So it'd be essentially 3D scanning your face. And one of the rumors of it is that it's always on. So it's always scanning for your face, even when it's off, so that you can unlock it for you. Like, how are they going to combat that when it comes to this? Because, I mean, if you really wanted to protect yourself, all an officer would have to do is just hold it up to your face and then...
Or your
it's
buddies
unlocked.
after you pass out at the party.
That
I see all
That
kinds of
too.
problems arising there.
There's some comments coming through about what happened earlier. I will not repeat on here. But all right. Well, so there we go. That's the iOS 11 part. Again, if you're just tuning in, this is Trends with Benefits Roundtable Tech Talk, and we were talking about the Apple OLED television and then Apple's original content that they're investing $1 billion in. I mean, now you have them. Facebook already announced they're investing in original content. I think eventually we're going to run a little thin on content. I mean, I guess, there's a lot of people creating, but at the same time, I mean, not everybody's going to get a Breaking Bad or like some hit show that's going to come out of it.
Right now, we have the opposite problem. We have a lot of amazing TV out there.
There is some
so
great
it's
stuff.
going to be really hard for Apple to jump into an area where there are a lot of amazing TV shows being made right now. I can't watch them all. You know, there's too many, and I'm constantly DVRing stuff and thinking, I got to get through that summer slump where there's no good TV on. Well, there's tons of good TV on
doesn't
during the
exist
summer
anymore,
now.
yeah.
Especially if the barrier to entry might be buying an Apple device or buying a subscription to an Apple service.
Yep.
The Apple Music exclusives that come out. I love some of these artists that are putting out Apple exclusives, and I just wait. It's just not worth my time anymore to pay $10 that month so I can listen to that new album for a week before it enters my my streaming service. And that's a thing where that show sounds good, but I already pay for Netflix and Hulu and this other thing. I'm not going to go pay for Apple too.
It's more subscriptions.
Just to watch the new whatever.
I have a lot of subscriptions now. More than my dad did for magazines. It's like Hulu and Netflix and Amazon and Vudu and not Apple.
We need a Netflix for Netflixes. We need like a subscription account for all the video streaming subscriptions, and then you can just I'm going to use Hulu right now.
We talked about this last week that there should be some kind of a bundle service, eventually, where you'll bundle your online streaming.
And then we're just
services.
back to the cable.
Back to
package.
cable.
It's $160 a month.
Tell you what, for $100 a month, I'll get subscriptions to all those for you and put links on a website.
Thought about that.
Should be like account shares, where it's like, well, I'll get Netflix this month, and you get HBO.
I mean,
and you get
informally,
Hulu, and we'll all.
That's what everyone is already doing, right?
And HBO said it's okay, right? I remember they put out a thing.
Well,
that was
they
sort of
said-
like share your password. It's fine.
Yeah, they said they're not ever gonna actively police that, how many IP addresses a single account has or anything like that. So yeah, they kind of gave it their tacit, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, there we go. So there are a lot of different services that are coming out that you can check out. Well, let's get on to, we've got just a few minutes left here, about 10 minutes in the show, and we'll bounce back and talk about that, so please let us know what you think. Oh, yeah, Diana's saying Disney is also working on one. Yeah, Disney's going off of Netflix.
Oh, I'll get the
There's
Disney
just
one.
so many. You will.
Just sign me up. They actually did. They added one of the streaming gaming sites that I like to the Disney XD lineup, which was just the oddest thing ever to see these very weird gaming guys streaming a game on Disney, and they were really hyped up about it. So Disney's reaching into new areas, Star Wars and video games, and
That's true.
you got to capture that crowd that they lost.
And Disney owns ESPN.
Yeah.
Which came out with a new app for Apple TV.
They did, yeah, and where it's going to be, you can stream 4 different games at the same time, which I do like that aspect. That's pretty cool.
There's an ESPN baseball section in the new Kingdom Hearts game too.
I have no idea what you just
It's,
said.
it's Kingdom Hearts games. It's like
ESPN
an
and baseball.
RPG that also involves Disney characters. So they've it's like you're a serious RPG character fighting alongside Goofy, and they added ESPN baseball apparently, and the new one is like a.
That sounds really weird.
It's really weird, but
yeah.
it's been a really popular game series that I've never.
Are you just
understood.
making things up?
Literally, that's the thing. Kingdom Hearts. There are probably people in chat who will defend it if you make fun of it. So be careful.
All right.
I like that.
All right. Well, let's talk about a couple other things. It's in robotics, since it is Brad's last show on here as a member of Digital Trends. We have to talk about some robots because Brad has, of course, announced that he is very pro robot. When the robot overlords come, he will sell out all humans. But I do have just 2 things I wanted to mention. One is this that I thought was just kind of a cool breakthrough that happened with UCSD. It's something that's been worked on for a while, but they've actually come up with a working prototype for this of using injecting humans with nanobots for medical purposes, which sounds really sinister when you say that out loud. But it's essentially this. They've been running testing on it to inject these tiny nanobots. I think they're like a half the width of a human hair. And you can inject them in, and they will go in and deliver doses of drugs. They were using an example of a stomach issue. These things can go in and they will release the drugs. Yeah, right. I just saw you eat that burrito. Yeah. But, so they can go in and handle that, and they've actually got it working to where it worked in mice, and they're getting ready, I believe, to start testing this out in humans as well. And I don't know. I just want to see what people thought about this. Would you allow? Are you pro nanobots injected into your stomach? Yeah, Brad is obviously okay.
Definitely sign me up.
Okay, so
I probably already have nanobots in me, and I don't even know it.
that's true. Yeah,
You do.
Drew does.
Just so we're clear.
There's the confession
Little
that
thing
we
the
want.
computing section has been testing.
That is something. Yeah, that now you know. Edward's saying pro. Yeah, I mean, I like the idea of it. I don't think I would want to be one of the first people to get this though. I just do not know if I entirely trust injecting the robots directly into me.
Should have had Drew on here because he's had tons of stuff.
Drew,
injected
well,
into him.
Drew would do it right now. We could just tell him we're injecting with robots. Be like, "Oh, okay.
Give him anything. This is robots, okay?
All right, sweet dude.
It was just tequila. I don't know.
It was mescaline. I don't know. I mean, Caleb, would you want to be one of these first people to test this out?
How much am I getting paid? Is it?
What's your
I'm donating my
dollar
gut
Is it
to
not-
science.
I think you're donating
is it not
your
enough
gut to
that it
science.
fixes your gut problems?
Dude,
Would you,
no,
would you-
seriously,
Would you
if
use
it-
this if you could drink milk or have cheese?
No, because I hate milk and cheese. But I would use this if it cured me of acid reflux and I never had diarrhea again.
All right. Yeah.
No, seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if it could just take digestive problems, which, it's not fun to talk about, but we all have them. Like, if
Right.
it could actually eradicate that would be great. I'm not sure what they're thinking about in terms of that.
Keelan just said people put Chipotle in their bodies.
True. So true. No, it's because we put Chipotle in our bodies that we need these nanobots.
We need the robots.
Squaring stuff away inside of us. And I don't know what kind of... Look,
Humanity has reached that level where the things that we put into our body, we need robots to go in and clean up after the things that we eat.
Alpha team, move in. I think no. I mean, I am terrible about remembering to take oral drugs, on time. Like I'm never gonna get one of those Monday through Sunday pill dispenser things and go through and do all
Right.
that. So yeah, I mean, if we could automate this without it being some big, pump like they use for cancer pain management, if we could use nanobots to alleviate, day-to-day problems, and we wouldn't have to think about it anymore, I'd be totally down.
Yeah, totally down with the nanobots. All right, I'm still not going to let it happen right off the bat. I'm going to wait for a good 3 years to let everybody else have the nanobot problems that are going to happen, and then I'll be pro.
Totes, not bots for you.
Yes.
How do you charge them?
I think they're biodegradable, so they
just dissolve after they're done. They're
supposedly
disposable. Okay.
Yeah, it was a little ambiguous on that.
I don't
as
need to
far
have like a
as
solar panel running out through my throat or something.
yeah, that's the other thing. I'm not really sure what else.
Or is this how we all
Installing
become the
batteries once a
Borg?
week, yeah.
Yeah, that's.
I'm in for that too. That sounds
You're down.
fun to me.
You're down with the.
We already
BORG.
know Brad is very pro robot. Well, let's get to our final story here. And this one, I just want to show up to show to basically explain that the robots aren't as far advanced as we thought. And this is another Boston Dynamics video, and I love playing these Boston Dynamics videos. If you follow them and everything they do, this is showing this. If you're watching this live, it's the Atlas robot showing it stacking boxes in an office space, and it's like the thing just freaks out and just starts pulling.
It falls down after that too.
It does fall down
It
after that.
definitely.
We lost the best part of that.
But yeah, after it pulls everything down off of the shelves, it does fall down. And that is just what I wanted to explain, that the robots are not quite as far. And again, if you're just listening to this via the audio version, I'll post a link to this. But it was actually from Boston Dynamics TED Talk, and they showed this video, so they understand the hilarity in it. It was CEO Mark Rabert. He showed a bunch of things about how far they've gone with Boston Dynamics, but I love how they're not ashamed to show the failures as well.
I'll just never get tired of those videos. Like the robot soccer players, I think we had on the site a week ago.
Yeah.
It's a robot
Toppling
that
over on the field.
Yeah, just the one robot seeing it face down in like a pool of water. Like there was no animation going on there at all, and that's what was hilarious about it.
There's just some hardwired, like it's such primitive comedy, but I always lose my shit when I see robots falling down. I mean, it's like a slapstick thing. It shouldn't be funny, but it is every single time.
It is always funny. And so, yeah, I just wanted to make sure that everybody was aware of that, the Boston Dynamics robot falling down. But anyway, yeah, there's a lot more information on them of actual accomplishments they've made. So this is so slapsticky. Like, look at it fall. But you can check all that out at digitaltrends.com. Of course, Brad will be the ally of the robots once they have become self-aware. I obviously, as it's being noted in the chat, I will be on the hit list for the AI once it becomes aware of how much I make fun of it. But Brad, this is your last day here on Trends with Benefits. Do you have anything that you want to say to the people, or anything you want to reveal? You said you'd reveal something at the end.
I for one welcome our new robot overlords.
That's what I want.
I do think this is funny though, because it is like it's sort of them becoming human in a way that we can watch them and sort of relate to them and be like, oh, I've tripped and fallen like that too. I've tried to put something down on a table where something already was and had everything go everywhere. I think it's funny that we're starting to see these sort of like we're having empathy for them, even if it's in a way that's like, yeah, like I watched someone fall down a flight of stairs and I thought that was pretty funny, and when the robot fell in the pool, I thought that was funny too.
I love how when it drops the box and goes,
I'm like, what's up?
woo! I just dropped a box.
Well, there we go. We'll end on robots falling. But thanks, everyone, for tuning into this. This is Trends with Benefits, weekly roundtable podcast where we talk about all kinds of different things. And again, you can check us out every week here live on Facebook and YouTube at 2:30 p.m. Pacific from Digital Trends headquarters. And then, of course, listen to the podcast afterward. Oh, yeah, that was what I was going to mention. The Eclipse is happening on Monday. And DT is going to be having some live streaming going on, I believe, of the Eclipse. Or lots of.
We're going to have some of our social team doing that.
Awesome. So, yeah, check out all of that as we come up on that on Monday. And, of course, go to Digital Trends for all the news on everything we've talked about and everything else. I think that'll about do it. Thanks for watching. We'll be back next week with another episode. So much bleeping.